Hey there, my name is Brandon Mueller. I'm a sound designer over at Gearbox Software, and today I'm going to show you how to make some processed, warbly, whooshy magic sounds utilizing a few fairly commonly used plugin suites, as well as sounds from Penguin Grenade's new raw magic sound library. But before I do that, let me go ahead and just preview the final design for you, just so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be making here today. So yeah, I personally think those all sound pretty cool, at least to me. This design might seem a bit complicated at first, but it can be all achieved utilizing just the Kiloheart suite, the FabFilter suite, and the Sound Toys plugin bundle. So the first thing that I did here was I took several different, I think like 10, 15, I don't know how many of this is, but just a bunch of sounds from the actual raw magic sound library, and I went and I whooshed them inside of Snap Heap. But let me just go ahead and get those, show you the raw sound, just so you can get an idea of what we're going for here. We've got some twinkling cluster of bullet shells. We've got a ball bearing spinning around. Nice tonal and textural. We've got some cloth flaps going on. Just a constant file of that which will be really nice for whooshing. We have a couple of different takes of some singing cups being bowed. This one is lower frequency with some rattle on it. This one is higher frequency, and it's just nice and clean. Just a very strong high frequency tone there. And then this last one is high frequency, and it's a bit stuttery. Next, we have a recording of a Mueller's disc being spun. Sounds pretty cool. We have a fan cage being dragged along. Then we have a goblet being scraped, and I believe I have this reversed actually, so let me go ahead and unreverse it really quickly. It's a little metal goblet being scraped, and I went and I reversed this one. Sounds a bit more magic-y already. We've got some thunder sheet swells being used as more of like a subwoofer layer. Then we have this friction mallet being dragged across a piano damper. Nice and droney. And then finally, we have this stone harp being slid upon, I believe. Just kind of sliding its hand around. Whoever is recording it, sliding their hand around on it there. So we're going to go ahead and open up Snap Heap here. I went and I used the gain module inside of it and turned on the percent mode and tied it to this LFO that I manually drew in, and then I tied the actual rate on that LFO to a random module here, random LFO module here. So altogether, this kind of sounds like this. Some ball bearings there. Some nice flap whooshes. Some interesting textural stuff there. some tonal stuff there. Let's try the Euler's disc. It's interesting. You've got the goblet scrape. Yeah, so that's just the general idea. Just wanted to demonstrate how it sounds on both textural and tonal contents there. Let me go ahead and just mute the actual raw layers here, and then we can hear what the normalized printed output sounded like that we recorded. So yeah, have some nice, clean, raw sounding whooshes, but we also want to do some processing to for our whooshes, just so that we can make them sound a bit even more magic-y than they already sound. So the first thing I did was I went and I reached for multi-effect solutions. So we have the effect rack here from Sound Toys, multi-pass, and you will later see on actually you'll see right now Snap Heap from Kilohertz, and then you have a bunch of plugins from FabFilter itself. So right here on this first one, we have the Vibrophaso preset. Then we have this Mega Smudge preset that I have personally made on Saturn II, where we have all these X LFOs modulating 5 different bands on the Smudge presets that can be found inside of Saturn II. Is modulating the frequency of the feedback for each one of these, as well as the drive and the crossovers. And then we just have that pasted twice. It sounds a bit granular at this point. You get some movement from effect track there. Then we have this propeller preset that has been modified a little bit, I believe, from Tremolator, just to give it some movement. Then we have this NOTT presets on multipass, which is their version of the classic OTT compressor. Get some nice low and top end in there, as well as control the mids. We have this octadisperser. I've just, I believe, just messed with the knobs on this one. Give a bit more tonal movement to that. And then we have some EQing going on here with Pro Q3 in natural phase mode, which, as the drop-down menu will show here, matches the magnitude response and the phase response of analog EQs, traditional analog EQs. And then we have this mastering preset inside of Pro MB, and Pro L2 in 1-to-1 ratio mode, just to kind of squash it all together. And this is initially going to sound a bit, like I said, squashed, but we will bring some life back into it in a later stage, so just keep your eyes peeled for that. Cool, so we have that going on. And we did this for pretty much each one of these raw files. We have in different orders, octadisperser, Pro Q3 here, the trip forward flashback presets in effect rack, this stuttering diffused preset inside of Timeless 3. I dragged in Filter Freak here. You put it in low pass mode. And I'm just using the input threshold to kind of modulate the frequency of the filter itself, as well as kind of letting some of the original sound back in, just to let a little bit of top end in while giving some low end movement. Then again, Pro L2 in that same 1-to-1 mode, and Pro MB with one of the mastering presets on again. The next one, again, we have Snap Heap with the Parapitch preset, with some knobs messed up. Some of the macro knobs messed around with. Then we have that Mega Smudge preset again from Saturn II, octadisperser off Snap Heap, some Pro Q3, some Pro L2, and Pro MB again. This was the most involved step of the design, but it will come in handy later, I promise you. The first thing I did here was reverse the fan cage sound. So we kind of have some lead-ins for our magic. Then we went into Effect Rack, used this phase reversal groove preset with the crystallizer and radiator turned off. Our Mega Smudge again on Saturn. This ping pong dispersion preset on Snap Heap. Some Pro Q3 just for that phase rotation. Some incoherent dispersion preset from Multipass. Pro MB with the mastering again, and Pro L2. Cool. Then we have, I believe, did I reverse this one? Yes. No, this is actually forward. We have the goblet scraping here. We put it through Kiloheart's frequency shifter, Pro R2, with just a bit of wash going on here. This is manually tuned. We have Octosperser here again on Snap Heap. We have the filter free trick again on Effect Track with the low pass frequency filter. And then we have or low pass filter, you know what I mean. Low pass filter mode there. Then we have the 1-to-1 ratio setting on Pro L2 there. Pro MB again, and some Pro Q3 to give it some meat to the lows and the highs there. So it sounds pretty washed out and magic-y while still remaining resonant. Next we have the subwoofer asset with that is a bunch of Thunder Sheet swells. We went to the Harmonitor preset on Snap Heap. It sounds quite granular. Pro Q3, the Octosperser from Snap Heap, Pro L2, and Pro MB again. Then on our piano friction mallet, we went to Saturn II first with our Mega Smudge presets, our Pro Q3, Snap Heap with the Ensemble Flanger presets, Snap Heap, the Octosperser preset, again, messing around with the macros here, 1-to-1 again on the Pro L2, and mastering on the Pro MB. It's also nice in stereo now. Sounds pretty cool. For the Stone Harp slides, we ended up going with the Shift Cider grained preset inside of Snap Heap, as well as the Devil's Chorus preset inside of Multipass, the Emerald Phase preset inside of Effect Rack, some Pro Q3, some Pro L2, and the mastering preset again inside of Pro MB. And then finally, I believe I actually added this one later, just because it sounded so good. We have this bowing waterphone sound found again inside of the Raw Magic library. Sounds pretty cool there. I initially went to the anti-phase preset inside of Effect Rack, the three flangers preset inside of Multipass, the Pro Q3 again, Mega Smudge again inside of Saturn II, the Octosperser inside of Snap Heap, the Flanging Chorus preset inside of Snap Heap as well, Pro MB again, and Pro L2 again. Sounds kind of cool. Nice and cool, like flangey movement. So what I ended up doing was printing it all out and creating like a big sausage file with all of them. Why? So that we can go ahead and process them even further in the next couple of steps. But I'm going to go ahead and play those sausage files for you real quick. Yeah, they're just all normalized. They all sound pretty good. We heard the processing on them earlier, on everything earlier. Then we're just gonna take the initial idea we grabbed here from just the raw audio on our snap heap with the whooshing, and we're going to add a pitch shifter and a low pass filter that we tie to the actual LFO itself. You can go ahead and hear that here. Yeah, so the idea here is I just kind of wanted to give it a bit more movement, just a bit of low pass filtering, because it kind of sounds a bit more magic-y, in my opinion. Then what I did was I printed them all out onto this track here, and I picked the ones that I liked and normalized them all, so we can kind of hear our end result here for our whoosh layers for the final design. Cool. So we have all those whooshes done, but now we're going to make them even more warbly. So what I initially ended up doing was bringing the entire recording, the entire long sausage file into Faceplant, and oh, it is currently hanging, but because I anticipated that, when I made the screenshot of the actual Faceplant preset itself, all we did, like I said, was drag the log sausage file inside here, and add a random LFO down here at the bottom that we then linked to the pitch of the actual granular utility inside Faceplant here, the player, as well as the length of the grain envelope itself. And then finally, we tied the actual playhead of the granular module into macro 1 here. Okay, so after Faceplant, we went to Pro Q3 here, then the Octosperser preset inside of Snap Heap, just a ton of gain because it got quite quiet after a while. The Pro L2 with the 1-to-1 ratio again, the Pro MB mastering preset, the low frequency, low pass filter inside of Filter Freak trick once again, and the just a little bit of a bump there on Pro Q3. And then after we printed that, we once again went ahead and whooshed it without any of the low passing or pitch modulation inside of Snap Heap. And then I went ahead and picked the good ones, the ones that I really liked. I'm going to go ahead and just play that for you now. yeah, so we just got a bunch of cool stuff out of that. And finally, I took the process sausage file beds once again, and I went and I made some impacts out of them, which I'll show here in a second. So I went ahead, a couple instances of Pro Q3 first, then some NOTT on multipass, disperser, Pro Q3 once again. Then I went into Snap Heap and I made I used the pitch shifter module as well as the CarVQ module with the loudness curve preset that can be found inside here, and some distortion, and finally some gain at the end just to kind of make this impact LFO shape to for some volume automation, so we can actually so they sound more like impacts than just random beds. And so we have some warbliness going on from there, as well as our volume shaping going on there. And the LFO here on the right is tied to the length, once again, of the actual impact envelope, and the volume envelope is modulating the pitch itself initially, which you can see here. It is modulating the drive on the distortion and the gain. So not only are we getting some volume automation with this envelope, but it is also, the pitch itself is also following the envelope as well. So we get some interesting movement from that. Then we went to NOTT again, the Pro L2 again, Pro MB mastering again, then our low pass filter trick here in Filter Freak, and finally just a little bit of boost on Pro Q3. So finally, after we printed them and picked the ones that we enjoyed, I'm just going to go ahead and play those. Let me unmute them. So as you can see, on like the on a lot of them, you get like this small, like all these little textural, tonal differentiations that come from the uniqueness of each of the raw samples that we use initially, which is why we do it this way. So after all of that, we now have a bunch of building blocks to build our magic sound. So finally here, all that we're doing is we're taking those printed files. On a couple of these layers here, we're using Tremulator once again from Sound Toys. On the propeller mode, I believe, if I remember correctly, I am just utilizing some parameter modulation on both the depth and the rate of the propeller of the Tremulator itself on the propeller preset, and it's just taking the inputs from the actual sound that is on the track, and modulating those parameters based on it. So it is just envelope following that, and I will show you what that sounds like just on one sound very quickly. Let me go ahead and crank the volume up so you can hear it a bit more, because it's mixed currently. There we go. That's raw. Just a bit more movement with that tremulator on it. Then afterwards, we went to Pro G, and we're doing some upward expansion here because we want to bring back some of that life that was squashed out of the sound in the processing stage. So without it, with it, just a bit more life. Then we're just EQing it a bit. And then we're finally using Kilohertz Transient Shaper with some attack pump and sustain, and we're modifying the speed just a little bit, just to kind of make the transients hit the way that we want to. Very subtle, but adds a bit more texture and movement. And we're doing this on pretty much every single channel individually. Again, we have the tremolators on these two channels doing pretty much exactly the same thing, as well as each channel having its own unique EQ, as well as threshold settings, etc. on Pro G, just so that they all sound exactly as dynamic as they need to be. So with all of that processing off, here is the full first sound. Sounds pretty good already, but here is it with it. There it is with it. So we have that. We have that done at the mix stage, and then finally at our master submix stage, we have some compression going on from Pro C2. Just adding a bit of gain and gain reduction when those peaks hit. Already sounds better. Again, we're mastering again with the Pro MB2 mastering presets. Sounds nice, mid-rangey, and clear. We are not using the 1-to-1 setting here on Pro L2 because we're actually trying to make it louder now. Nope, we should take that off. There we go. Then we have Pro Q3 doing some a bit of mid-side EQ here, controlling the mud here at around 250 and the mids here at around 2 and 3 kilohertz, as well as rolling off some top end just so it's easier to listen to. Finally, this is a custom preset that I've made inside of Multipass, where we are taking 3 different bands here from around 500 hertz to under 500 hertz, from around 500 to 1.4 kilohertz, and then 1.4 kilohertz and above. We have distortion on each one of these bands, as well as a transient shaper on each one of these bands, and these are individually tuned. As you can see, it's very slight, just to kind of, again, give the transients a bit more focus. It's very subtle, but it's there. Yeah, it hits your ear. Like I said, it's very subtle, but just gives a little bit of ear candy. And then finally, we are going to try to control our intersample peaks with a second limiter, and I'm ducking the gain just a little bit to ensure that we still have the dynamic range we want. As you can see, we're just kind of catching the peaks there, so not really squashing it that much. But yeah, that is what I ended up designing. I hope you all enjoyed this little tutorial, and please go pick up Penguin Grenade's new raw magic library. It's really cool. Have a good one.